whether you slide into somebody's DM or meet somebody in person, I think it's the same. It depends on whether or not they like you, whether or not they think you're cute.
Right.
You know, because if you're in person at the club and you walk up to a girl and be like, hey, how you doing? I'm Walter. She can be like, ugh, I can't believe you get away from me. Right?
Yeah.
But if she likes you, she can be like, oh, you're so funny, even though you didn't even tell a joke yet.
811 crew, we are back. Great
back.
to see you. You know I'm Jay Turner. I'm with my man.
Ulysses Slugger Glenn.
Sluggerific is what I call him. We're going to talk about all the different ways that people meet people these days. Like back in the day, we're all, Generation Xers. We're all, some of us, most of us here are over 50.
Right.
Okay. And our guest today is, even though our guest today we're gonna find is slightly under 50, but he has we're gonna find that he has a perspective. We have him on the show because we think he's gonna add some perspectives to this dating conversation. And what we're trying to do is again talk today about all the different ways that you can meet people, that you can find love when you're over 50. What are the different mechanisms that are out there? And so we brought an expert off the bench to join our discussion today. We have Walter Jones with us joining the 811 crew. What's up?
How y'all
Walter
doing?
Maxfield Jones.
Maxfield, exactly.
Right, not just Walter Jones.
From Cali.
Walter Maxfield Jones from Sacramento, California.
Yes.
Morgan State University.
Morgan State.
Alpha Iota's finest.
Right. Right. And we don't even have to say that he's a member of Kappa Alpha Psi because you can probably tell that. But anyway, Walter has great perspective, because he's a single guy. He's in the age criteria. He's been out there. But then even more recently, he has been able to had great success on one of the TV shows out there on OWN, Ready to Love.
Yes.
So I'm really excited to hear you tell us about that. Like, what is Ready to Love about, and what are your overall thoughts about finding love out here?
Oh, wow. Ready to Love was 10 single men, 10 single women. They threw a couple curveballs in there, and everybody dates everybody at the same time, and you eventually vote people off and filter it out until you get down to your person along that journey.
Yeah, so people get voted. I remember I watched, I think, one or two episodes I definitely watched. So people get voted off?
Yes, sometimes the men vote a woman off. Sometimes the women vote men off. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So what was your strategy rolling up in there? Because I mean, like, are you thinking more when you're going on one of these shows? And I can't imagine what being on one of these shows would be like. But is your thought I'm trying to win? Or is your thought, I'm trying to book the baddest honey? Is the thought, I'm just trying to be cool and see what's like what's your mindset going into the set first day?
I can't say. Go ahead.
Also, what made you go on the show too?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll start with what made me go on the show.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Ulysses.
Boredom. Honestly, some of my friends were telling me, like, Walter, you need to get out there. I had a breakup that was pretty bad for me, and I was going through a healing process, all that type of stuff. And I stopped going out. I was like, I'm chill at home, and my friend was like, Walter, you got to go out. If you want to meet women, you got to go out. You got to go out. And I was like, no, I'm good. Like, I really don't even care about it. And I was saying no a lot. And something, you start to meditate and manifest, and something told me in my spirit, like, I need to start saying yes. I need to just say yes and figure it out later. And I got a phone call from a producer that I used to work with and said, hey, there's a show called Ready to Love. It's on the Oprah channel. And I was like, I'm not going to go on a reality TV show. I was like, most of the guys on those shows are cornballs.
Right.
I was like, I'm not about to do that. And he's like, no, I think you'd be perfect. I was like, no. I got a phone call like a week later, like, hey, Walt, just talk to the producer. And I said no again. And that epiphany that I had maybe about a month earlier was like, why are you saying no? If they call again, say yes. And I got that third phone call, and I said, all right, yeah, I'll do it.
Oh, man.
Okay,
and
that's kind of how I got on the show. As far as my strategy on the show, I didn't have one. Because I didn't necessarily want to be on the show, I just told myself I'm going to be as sincere and as honest as possible. And if I don't find love on the show, maybe somewhere out there in TV land, the 3 million viewers or more, I don't know how many people watch the show, somebody out there is going to see me. and maybe I'll find love that way, or maybe love will come to me. If I keep putting that positive energy out there, and just be honest and be myself, then somebody will see it and come to me.
And you know what? And we're not going to spoil it. That we're going to that perhaps a little later Walter might share with us what happened. What
happened on the show? Right,
what happened? Yes.
But before we get to the end and what happens at the end, talk to us about other mechanisms that are out there, right? Like you went on it. That was great how you went on a show to find love. That you went from no, I'm not really doing anything to I'm going to be on the Oprah Winfrey Network.
Right.
Is there some middle ground for those who don't have the connects or the personality like you to be on television? What do y'all think the approach should be?
I know there's technology now, there's apps and things of that nature, but I've always felt that if you're working on yourself, do the things that you enjoy doing. And you will find somebody else that enjoys those things as well.
Come on, now.
Right?
You get knowledge here.
If you are working on being a better person, you putting that energy out will bring somebody else that's also being a better person as well to you. So if you're not working on those things for yourself, if you're not doing the things that you enjoy, if you're not loving on yourself, you can't expect somebody to love on you either.
Now, we've everybody's been in relationships. So that's a good point, Walter. When you're going into new relationships, you mentioned how you had a bad breakup, you were looking to move forward, Ulysses, et cetera. How do you move forward when do you just get back out there? Do you just, hey, I'm just going to go out to the club and find somebody else? What is the mentality of getting in the game?
For me, when I first got divorced, I was like, okay, it's I'm just being told full transparency. It was difficult because you're trying to date at 45, at the time I got divorced. It's like, where do I meet women at? Do I recycle the old chicks back? 'Cause I remember it was coming up.
All of the above.
Right. So, but no, it was hilarious.
You mess with some of your ex-wife's friends that you thought were fine.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Revenge. That's just petty. That's petty.
Oh, boy.
That's when the petty comes out. Petty white.
I remember like New Year's, you're like, what am I do for New Year's? I was like trying to find some, the chick I met at the mall, do I hang out with her? Something like, well, because you're like, I was just getting divorced, so it's not, I wasn't online. I knew, you just knew, I knew chicks, and it's like, okay, what do I do? So you have to realize dating from 45 up is totally different than dating when you're 20. It's only, it has to be.
In a way it is, in a way it's not.
It has to be.
I remember when I was younger and I had a breakup, the first thing I said, the best way to get over somebody is to get underneath somebody else, right? Over under, right?
Right. Underneath someone else.
That's the best way to get over somebody.
Right.
So that's what I would do. I'd like, all right, I just broke up. I'm just going to go back to being a player or whatever it may be, right? And you just try to F it out of you, right? F the sadness out.
Right.
I need emotion. I need to feel close to somebody.
Right? Because after a break, you don't really want to sleep alone. That I don't want to be alone at night type thing happens, right?
Okay.
But anyway, as you mature and you get older, that's just toxic, and you end up hurting people. Because even if you're not with that woman, you still got to break up with her.
Yeah.
And that's what I realized. Like even though I was completely honest with you, I told you I just got out of a breakup. I'm not looking for anything. I just need to heal. Somehow, some way, you still have to. She wants closure. You got to. I'm like, how am I breaking up with somebody that I'm not even with?
Everything's a cycle.
That's what I mean. As you get older, that's how dating's different. Because when you're in your 20s and you did that, you just stopped. You just ghosted her. When you're 45, you can't just do that.
Yeah,
because
But wait a minute now. But
it kills your brand. Because one,
it kills your brand.
You keep doing that, your brand is done. So you realize, because women talk now. They're older. They're like, they're going to say, I went out with Walt for 2 weeks. All of a sudden, he just ghosted me. That you start getting those.
I've never really believed in ghosting somebody.
But it happens.
If we need to stop, we need to stop. If you're getting too emotional and we've already set these boundaries, then we just need to make an adult decision.
So you just stopped calling them?
Either way, they're going to hate you.
So you just stopped calling them?
No, I just said I had a conversation.
So okay, all right.
Now, see,
but either way, they're going to hate you. They're going to hate you regardless.
No. If you have a conversation,
yes.
if you have a conversation, because usually
They are.
Yeah, my feeling that's why the evacuation stage is usually
They're
not
gonna
good.
hate you
Right.
regardless. That's why you have to be careful. That's why you just can't go out and start doing everything because, like I said, you're gonna end up breaking up with somebody that you wasn't even with, whether or not you were. Whether or not you have an honest conversation or not.
But isn't this where technology, though, helps a little bit, though, right? When we get back,
I think there's good and bad.
Talk about that.
There's good and bad with having that many options.
That technology.
The thing about, for me,
It's not the technology, it's the options. The technology gives you those options.
Oh.
And then if you have
talking
that
about
many
the
options.
paradox of choice.
Right, exactly.
When we get back from this break, we going to get back on this conversation. I like this. The paradox of choice. Too many choices. Is it too much? 811 crew. We're going to keep chopping it up. We'll be back. 811 crew, we are back. We're back with myself and Slugger, and we're excited today to have our guest off the bench, Walter Maxfield Jones from Ready to Love. And we've been chopping it up about finding love in the 2020s. What are the mechanisms? What are the tools to find love out there? How do you cast a wide net? And there's a lot of technology out there to do that. At the same time, we left off talking about something called the paradox of choice. The fact that we have all these choices, all of these tools out there, does that in fact make finding the right one even harder? Walter, before we left, you were we were having some really good conversation about this, and our producer Sydney was talking about how she's had to change the way she's been used to things. What are you seeing out there? What are you hearing when you're out there? What are you seeing?
Well, like I said, it depends on the market, right? And in DC, there's the type of market where, we've had these conversations.
That's terrible. The market.
The market.
The
hey,
market.
That's what it is. It's a market.
The meat market.
It's a meat market.
Wow.
I'm at
Wegmans.
I'm Wegmans.
And you have your alpha males and your beta males, right? And there's only so many alpha males that are doing so well. The high value man, as people want to call it. Kevin Samuels. Shout out to KS, right? And then you have 80% of women wanting the top 10, 20% of men in DC.
True.
But I mean, where is this whole notion of the top 20? Like, what is that? Like, it's not like you can say you at 90 to 100 is an A or whatever. I mean, what's this notion of A, B?
Yes, you can.
Okay. If you're a 6.
But is it up to us to say that, or
if you're
six figures, 6 feet,
6 feet tall? It's like the 3 6 or something like that. Yeah, it's like this.
Did women say this? Or is this Kevin Samuels saying that this is what?
No,
who's defining these
honestly,
things?
Statistically, I believe they even brought it down to 5'10".
Yeah.
Over 70,000.
75.
Over 75,000 a year. 5'10", over 75,000 a year, and you're still in the top 2-3% of all men.
I mean, realize that's why.
So that means that there should be a lot of brothers out there for
no.
That
means that that top 2-3% of men
it's like the same
are getting the 97% of women.
I mean,
they're getting all the work.
I guess
those guys are getting all the work.
To say that you're over, for me, being over 5'10" and making over 75 grand a year, it seems like in DC there should be a lot of brothers that are in that category.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Wow. What do you really think back there?
It's not. It's not.
Maybe because all the brothers I know are in that category.
That's the problem.
Or they might be some shorter than 5'10", but I mean, all of my friends meet that criteria.
Our friends that are under 5'10" make 7 figures.
Right.
That's the problem.
They understand that they're under 5'10", so they're like, I gotta get my money out.
So they sit on their wallet. Like I'm sitting on this wallet right now.
Right.
What's gonna happen now? What's gonna happen now? It's called a Centurion card.
Wait, Carmen. So wait. We got the millennial perspective on this, because you've done online dating, right? Yeah. You've been successful.
How'd you meet your man?
Online. She was successful. Yeah.
Which site?
She can't.
Plenty of
POF.
Fish.
Wow.
Plenty of Fish? I think it was Plenty of Fish.
Were you on the free one or the?
Free 99.
Really?
Broke college student.
Wow.
Free 99.
Okay. All right. So you recommend it? You recommend online dating?
I mean, I think millennials is kind of just like expected. Like, oh, so what app did y'all meet on?
Really?
Wow.
I just found out.
Just
Yeah.
like that.
My
I
cousin.
think
It's either-
nowadays people just slide into your DM, right? And
Yeah, it's either
Yeah.
apps, DMs, or mutual friends. That's
See, I'm
Yeah,
at a
just
happy
slide into the
hour.
DM.
Now,
Yeah.
what's the protocol around? I hear about this DM thing, you know, something like slide, like you use the term like
You
slide.
slide in,
I'm
you
sliding
send a
in.
message, I'm just
What is
sliding
the,
in.
are there any protocols or rules around
I'm
that?
gonna ask the
Not
coach.
really.
Coach is
Coach,
there.
when
I
you
know.
coach, you ever,
Coach,
you ever slide in the
Coach, on
DM?
that.
Coach.
Hey man, I think people are gonna present themselves as they want you to see them. So they're gonna come in either gonna come in hot or they're gonna come in just even keel.
Try to slow walk.
I don't know. That sounds like the White Lie Central on that sounds like Secrets and Lies
Lies.
repackaged. Right. This is
I'm
all
like-
Yeah, I think if you slide into somebody's DM, come in respectful. You know,
Well,
But
It
do,
depen-
do
it
all
depends-
DMs
Does
go
it depend
through?
if they're showing their? Can I say? It depends
Yeah.
if they're showing their ass on their Instagram. And
right,
then
you're like,
they
well,
might
you
not
know,
be so sus-
yeah, they're not
Respectful.
Period.
You might want to
Yes.
follow the tone that they have.
Yeah.
So whatever tone they have, you know, it's like,
Yeah, I feel like DMs are shady. Like, what? How do you react? Like, for instance, I feel like as a dude, if a chick hit me up on DMs, I would probably be like, oh wow, okay, who was this? Who was this honey that's hitting me on the
hey,
You
DM?
start, you
But-
immediately go to her page like,
yeah, let me
right,
see
okay.
that. We have
That's
friends,
the
right?
only
Look
way
for
I
the
would do
booty
that.
pic.
But if I were a chick and all of
Mm-hmm.
a sudden dude hits me on DM, I would think that would seem really shady to me. I don't know why. I don't know. Is there a difference?
I
in
think
men
I think it's
versus
It
women?
normal.
can
I think
be.
I
It's
think
kind of
it
like,
depends.
can be.
good morning, beautiful.
I
How
think,
could it
I-
not be
honestly,
Good morning,
I
beautiful,
think
every
it's-
morning.
Whether you slide into somebody's DM or meet somebody in person, I think it's the same. It depends on whether or not they like you, whether or not they think you're cute.
Right.
You know, because if you're in person at the club and you walk up to a girl and be like, "Hey, how you doing? I'm Walter." She can be like, "Ugh, I can't believe get away from me." Right? But if she likes you, she can be like, "Oh, you're so funny," even though you didn't even tell a joke yet, right?
And you don't drop your voice like that. You heard the way he dropped.
So-
He
He
was like,
dropped the
"Hi,
oct-
I'm
he dropped the
Walter."
So
octave.
it
Yeah,
really,
right.
Right.
You can't do that on the
Yeah, you
internet.
No.
He had the Ulysses voice.
no,
Wait a minute.
but it
I'm the only
really
one with the voice.
depends
Right,
on
right. Ulysses, you woke up with that.
Yeah, I was like,
if
what?
a
right.
woman's into you, she's into you. Doesn't
True.
even matter what you're saying.
Mm.
So if you slide in a DM and she looks at you and checks you out and like, oh, okay, then it's all good.
Wow.
If she doesn't like you, then you're creepy.
We do have a poll question.
Oh,
we
yeah,
do
we
have a poll question
right.
because we're going to be talking about
Yeah, you busy-
like, this
you a big
in this technology. The poll question was, what percentage of people are using technology to find a date, to start dating, and what were the results out there? Come and talk to us.
I think you guys will be surprised. The number was kind of high, but I think that's just because of the era we in, and then the people who took the poll. It's kind of high. It was kind of high. It was, about 60% said yeah.
Really?
It's a different day and age.
Yeah, I think
It's a
that.
different day
In
and age.
Tulsa, Oklahoma, it could be
I
lower.
also think you use technology
Right.
to vet people now. There's been women that I met in person. I was like, oh my God, she's gorgeous. She's, we had a great conversation. I go to her IG page, and it's just all on her. I'm like, yeah, I can't
So
do
there's
it.
something wrong. Okay.
Have you guys heard of the Facebook groups that are started by people who think they're talking to the same person?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Heard
So
about
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
So like,
You
have
can
a
vet
friend-
people.
I have a friend. I have a friend that's on
Jason,
there.
you might be on there.
No.
You might be on there.
I'm,
you
no,
might
no,
I'm
no,
not
no,
on
no.
there.
I'm not
I
on
ain't-
there.
I don't know.
I
I
ain't on there.
I have a
ain't
friend.
been on there.
I have
I'll
a
tell you
friend
what they
that's on
do.
there.
They take a picture of who they're currently dating
Date.
or talking to and be like, is anybody else talking or dating to this human being
Wow.
right now?
No.
That
No.
is-
Okay, I got one. So on Bumble, my girlfriends and I were like actively dating for a while. This is like a couple years before COVID.
Okay.
And so we would say, I'm going out on a date, send the picture. Okay. Y'all know him? Nope. Okay, go. I went
Some
on my
white lies
one
in
and
that one.
only Bumble date. And he went to the bathroom. And so he was in the bathroom. I was looking at different stuff. And I thought, wow, he's been gone a while. So he comes back and we're like, oh yeah, nice to meet you. We leave. We get home and my girlfriends are like, what'd you think? I was like, he went to the bathroom for a long time. And then my friend said, at what time?
Oh, wow.
Wow. Okay.
What time did he
He
go to
texted
that?
her in the bathroom when he was on the date with me.
Wow.
See,
One of my best friends. And
that's
we
the
all,
shit I don't
so
like.
The
Right, right.
paradox.
that shows you how small a pool is out there.
See,
Well,
that is
That
really
just
tough.
means
But no,
that, like
so
I
I-
said, the same women are choosing the same man.
Because we've been talking about the men kind of pursuing the women here, and decidedly and conversationally we've discussed that there's different dynamics with the hunt, if you will, for our perspective as men for women. But I'm curious what you all think about how a woman's role as a hunter has changed, or has it changed? Where we talked about the high value brothers, the brothers that are making money and doing this, that, and the third. But what we know is, again, to your point about a market like DC, we have a whole bunch of bad sisters here that are making dough. They are on the boards, the CEOs. They got their own money, their own house, whatever. How do you think these women are? Do you feel like these women are approaching the market, approaching us differently than a sister who just
if they're not, I think
Nordstrom?
If they're not, I think they need to. I think they need to change their perspective on how they date and who they date. Some women need to change their perspective on, or get a reality check on who they are at that time, and what their value is in the market, right? Okay. The woman I'm dating now, she approached me. She approached me in the club, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Like
Tell
what?
us more.
Yeah, because last we spoke, you was hiding in the home, crying your eyes out, trying. You said you was traumatized. You were just saying you had some trauma.
That was.
And you went from trauma to television. Ago. So
I went from trauma to television.
Right. So then, how did you go from trauma to television to love yourself?
At my premiere party, you was at my premiere party.
I was. It was hot.
Thank you.
Is that where you were?
I was out
yes.
of town. I was out of town.
Wow.
So at my premiere party, she snuck out from filming Sabrina from the season after mine. Her and a couple of the cast ended up at my premiere party. And I guess some of them was like, hey, that's the guy. That's the guy on the show. Like, you should go talk to him. And she walked up and she hollered at me.
Right. Because she hadn't been on TV yet.
No, she was like, hi, I'm Sabrina. I'm on the next episode. I was like, hold on, baby.
Right, this is my time.
I'm having a conversation right now. I'll be with you in a second.
What was, your show debuting,
actually,
it's a lot of people.
That's really what happened. She was like what the? But after I wrapped up my conversation, it was really because I wanted to give her my undivided attention. And I didn't want, I'm always the type of person, if I'm talking to someone, I'm not going to start, doing that move. I want to give anybody that I'm engaged with my undivided. So I was like, hold on, let me wrap up this conversation and I want to talk to you, but let me finish this up. And then I pulled her off into a little corner, and time kind of stood still.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The time stands still one.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That sounds like the Notebook.
Look at that smile on his face.
really
Look
what
at that
happened.
smile.
But had she not approached me, it probably wouldn't have happened.
Wow.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, this technology conversation is really interesting, and it's only going to get even, I think, more interesting. What I am really scared of, and we're going to be, and scared is a real thing to me, that we're going to talk about in an upcoming episode, is we're going to take this technology further and talk about, don't mention that.
Oh, no, you can.
Okay. In the future, we're going to take this conversation further, and I want to talk about AI and talk, because you got this whole thing about how AI. So what scares me is, to what extent are we using technology where the opportunities will just come to you? Maybe the algorithm will filter out the 50 people you're supposed to know.
That's part of it, but the other part is using ChatGPT and other AI technology to send your text messages for you, to DM for you.
Or
who they think.
Or
no.
to write your profile.
To write your profile.
Wow,
That's where
that
they
is
do
so
it.
wrong.
All those things.
That is so wrong. Well, anyway,
they
we're gonna have to
writes
take a
it,
break,
yeah.
but I'm not with all that writing your. If you got to have somebody write your own lyrics.
You got to.
You're a fake baby.
You have AI
Milli
being your
Vanilli.
Cyrano de Bergerac,
It's like
and
Milli
the
Vanilli.
AI already knows their preferences.
The
Milli
algorithm,
Vanilli.
y'all. We're chopping it up. 811 crew, we'll be back.
We're back.
811 crew, we are back. We're having a fascinating conversation about dating in the 2023, the tools, the apps, the timing, and the results. One thing that's been great is Walter telling us about his love story. So we cannot end this podcast without finding out, where are Walter and Sabrina now? Tears. Get that.
Right.
Get that man some Kleenex.
Right.
Where are you now? How's it going? What is love like now?
Honestly, everything's great. After she ghosted me,
oh wow,
I went to her premiere party.
Okay.
And we've been inseparable ever since.
Did she say, "Excuse me, wait a minute"? Did she put you on pause? Like
no.
Oh.
I actually, like I said, she ghosted me. So when I showed up to her premiere party late, she saw me from across the room. She ghosted me. I'm not gonna run up to her like, hey, at that point,
Y'all be glad I'm here.
You've already told me how you felt about me because you didn't return my, and I only called once, and I texted once, and she didn't respond,
Right.
and so that was the end.
That was
of
it.
Right.
Yeah.
And come to find out, she respected the gangster. She was like, okay, you weren't pressed.
Good
You know what
morning,
I'm saying?
beautiful.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, hey, like you saw that I called. I
Right.
followed up with a text. Now
Right.
there's, right?
Now, let me ask you this too. Now, we've talked about a lot of different attributes, et cetera, women, et cetera. If there is one thing with Sabrina, and thinking of it from not just from the Walter perspective, but just in, as a man in terms of, the dating, et cetera, was there one thing, maybe two things that made you say, of all the opportunity and choice that you have here in the DMV, what was it that made you say, yo, this is it?
She hates when I say what it is.
Oh, boy. Tell us now. You got to say it.
She was logical. We could have a conversation. We would disagree. I'd hear her side. I'd give her my side. And she would stop and, okay, you made a good point. You're right. And
Okay.
I pulled out my phone like, yo, bro, like, yo.
Record this.
I'm
And
just
then-
camera stunned right now.
And honestly,
dude, I'm just.
dude.
This is some real shit we're hearing here.
Honestly, the first couple times it happened,
Is this a lie?
the first couple, I was like,
This is a white lie?
No, the first couple times I was like, I know that game. I know
Right.
what you're trying to
She's
do.
just
You're gonna be
doing it right
logical
now.
for 2 more weeks.
You be,
Right. And then the real you.
I know that
You're
game.
gonna spin around.
You gonna
Wow.
cook. You gonna cook a couple times. You're gonna be logical for like a month or so.
And then it's
Then
gonna
I'll be all caught up. And
Right.
And no, but that's who she is.
So how
And,
long has it been?
How long y'all been dating? Yeah.
It was a year, April 1st.
Wow.
Oh, really?
First
Okay.
Last year we made it official, so it's been a year and a couple of months now.
Right.
Yeah,
That's all right.
and,
Yeah. You brought her. That's right. You brought her around
And
the
the final
curve
thing I
and
wanna
everything.
ask
Yeah, we
is
know,
That's, she's my person, man.
And before
Yeah.
we wrap up,
But
I wanna
hold
say,
on.
We've
Let
met.
me
We've-
not just leave it at logical because I can't leave it there. 'Cause
Logical is great.
And she's
She may-
nice.
she may watch
and
it.
she's nice looking too.
Right.
she's adorable.
Yeah.
I love her figure. But beyond being logical, she is kind. She is considerate. She's appreciative. And she's nurturing.
logical.
And she's logical.
Right.
That is
No, but
a major.
honestly, she renewed my faith in women.
Wow.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
No doubt. No doubt. I was like,
Sabrina. All right.
We
them
need to
dudes
bring
them
Sabrina
dudes
on to
Right.
give
the
us
guys
some
on her
lessons.
season fumbled.
Wow.
Really?
Wow.
Fumbled. Maybe I think everything happens for a reason. I think I had to go through what I went through to have the epiphany and reach a sense of maturity that, like, okay, the next woman I find, I got to be good to her.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she had to go through whatever she had to go through, so that way she said, all right, when I find a good guy for me, I'll be able to appreciate him more.
Okay.
And I think that, the stars and the moons just aligned, and I'm a happy camper, man.
I love
I'm
that.
grateful for it. I'm in a constant state of gratitude when I'm with her.
Can I ask
Strong
you
J,
one last?
strong
that
J.
is. That is. Can I ask you just one last? Can I ask you? Can I just bother you with one last question,
Yeah.
Walter? You struck me when you said a year ago we made it official.
Mm-hmm.
What does making it official mean for Walter and Sabrina? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah,
what
what-
is
how does that
official?
happen?
There's a
Like,
lot of what
you
is
say-
official?
Will you
Find
be
that.
my girlfriend? Will you go with
Will
me?
you go with me?
It was
It's
okay.
only you, baby. I mean, like what?
Yeah,
Tell me about that.
something like that. When you first start dating somebody, you're also dating other people and things of that nature.
No.
Yeah, right. And I was actually out of the country, and she called me and she asked me a couple of questions like what are you doing? I'm like, I'm here by myself, and she's like, well, what have you been doing since you've met me? And I'm a very
Logical question.
logical questions, right? And I'm an honest person, so I told her the truth.
She took Neil's thing. Let me ask questions.
And she was like, well, I thought we were moving towards exclusivity. You talking to other people. I'm like, we are moving towards exclusivity. You don't know how many people I already cut off.
Right. Wow. Start with that.
Wow.
I cut off.
Right.
I'm down to 2 now.
Right.
Honestly, if you want to keep it real.
Right.
I've been
You
cutting.
have no idea the
Right.
sacrifice.
I've
that
already
it made.
sacrificed.
It takes me a while. I can't just be like, hey.
Yeah, people have already been cut.
People
Right,
have emotions.
exactly.
Like, wait a minute.
And she was like, well, I'm gonna fall back if you're not. And I'm like, no, you said we're moving towards exclusivity, and having this conversation, having a real conversation about what do we want from each other is part of it. And at first she was mad. She was like, da-da-da. And I think she hung up or whatever. And she called me back maybe a couple minutes later. Was like, "You're right. That makes sense. In order to move towards exclusivity, we need to have this conversation. And so, what is your decision?"
Wow.
Whoa.
And I was like,
And you said,
"It's you, baby, it's you."
I'm ready to love.
Baby, it's you. The way
There we go. In a boat
Please tell me you
city.
didn't do that.
No, I didn't do that.
Well, guess what, y'all? That is real talk dating 2023.
Yeah.
You convinced me.
Keep it real, keep
Have
it
to have
honest.
hard
I'm all in.
conversations.
We can end
You
Hard
have to be able to have
conversations.
hard conversations. And like my one advice to all men is tell a woman the truth, let her lie to herself.
A11 crew,
11 crew.
we are out.
We're out.
Let's go, pick your feet up though. Let's go, pick your feet up though. Come on.